What's good, YouTube? We're back on the next video about narcissistic abuse. If y'all enjoyed the last couple of videos, I'm making the videos about neurodivergence and all these things. And I'm just making a lot of YouTube videos because I just want to create more content and share my story, share my thoughts, feelings, ideas, beliefs, all these things, and just document my life. I want to dive deeper into the narcissistic family dynamics because I think it's just really important for anyone to know dealing with narcissistic siblings. And I'm going to tell you this: if your narcissistic sister gets into an abusive relationship with an older man, don't try to help her. Don't do it. Narcissistic women will purposely put themselves into abusive relationships with violent men, marry violent men, get in touch with violent men, and groom other women to believe that they need to get into relationships with violent men for money and sex in order to be validated. If this is your sister, don't help her. Don't help her. She will come to you with big crocodile tears, be like, oh, my man beat me. My man hit me. My man makes me want to unalive myself. All these things. She's going to do that because she wants attention. She just wants attention. And she's going to program her children and teach her children that if your man doesn't make you cry out of shame, guilt, fear, pain, whatnot, then he doesn't love you. And narcissistic women love this sentence that pain, love is pain. Love hurts. Love is painful. Because they're going to program their daughters that, to believe that if a man doesn't put his hands or his toxic tongue onto you, if a man doesn't hurt you and you don't feel pain or hurt, that means that he doesn't love you. If a man is kind to you, if a man is protecting you, if a man wants to love you and respects you, that's not exciting. That's not love. He doesn't love you. Narcissistic women are like this. They're going to tell their own daughters that if a man doesn't put his hands onto her, then it's not love. So if your narcissistic sister gets into a relationship with abusive man and marries an abusive man and then continues to abuse her own children, don't save her. If she comes across like, oh, I'm in an abusive relationship and I'm in a toxic environment or whatnot, don't help her. She's going to call CPS, she's going to call Child Protective Services, home security, whatnot, and make all these false claims, acting as if she is a victim, even though she is actually a victimizer and her children are actually the victims. But you see, narcissistic women, they are great actors. They're great actresses, They love to pretend as if they are, constantly the victim of things because they're covert narcissists. They're covert narcissists and they're constantly trying to make people think that they are in a abusive relationship and that they are constantly in a violent marriage. But every single day, she has the option and the ability to sign a divorce papers. And if there's one thing a narcissist won't do, is sign the divorce paper. Because divorce to a narcissist hurts their ego. They're going to think, oh, what are women going to think if I tell them that I divorced my man? What are other men going to say if I say that I've been divorced multiple times? Narcissistic women care about that because they care about the potential attention they can receive from other people. They're going to put their children into dangerous domestic situations with the men that they're fucking. Every single week they get another man. Every single week it's another man, and that man is also touching her children, and she won't care. She won't care. She doesn't care about her children. She doesn't care about the safety of the children. She doesn't care about the well-being of her children. She only cares about a man. A narcissistic woman doesn't know how to love her children, but she does know how to love a man. Because for her, her entire validation and identity revolves around being perceived by men. Her entire identity and personality, character, being is validated by other men. If a man doesn't like her, it hurts her ego. If a man doesn't find her attractive, it hurts her ego. Her entire personality, her entire character, her entire identity revolves around other men. It's about being perceived by men, talked about by men, being lusted over by men, being attractive to men. It's all about men. Narcissistic women are obsessed with how they're being perceived by men. That's what they are. And if that means that they have to, put their children into dangerous position in order to be perceived as appealing to another man, they're going to put their children into difficult positions and whatnot. That's what they're going to do. Because they don't care. They don't care about their children. They only care about being perceived as sexually appealing by other men. So if that man turns out to be a violent asshole, and he's wrecking the house, he's wrecking, the entire neighborhood. He's wrecking, the household. He's beating the children. He's always drunk. He's always beating up the children or whatnot. She's okay with that. And if the police is at her door, she's going to defend her man. She's going to stand by her man. That's her theme song. You know what I'm saying? Stand by your man. Yeah, that's her theme song. Every time her man needs to go to court because her man has, inappropriately touches her own children, physically beat up her own children, all that kind of stuff, she will be with her man in court, and she's going to be against her own children, testifying that her children are liars and whatnot. And she's even going to be against other family members who are going to speak up against her man. That's what narcissistic women, narcissistic mothers do. They are Satan's minion in the flesh. They are demons. Narcissistic women will purposely pick out other narcissistic men and violent men and use them against their children, so the children get abused and the man only has attention for her. And see, she knows her man doesn't want her or whatnot. That's why she can, project that anger onto her daughters and whatnot. So if you have a narcissistic female sibling, if you have a narcissistic sister and you see her with an aggressive man, abusive man in constant abusive relationships, she's a narcissist. She's not a victim. She's a narcissist. She loves the attention. She loves being, perceived as a victim. It feeds her ego. Narcissistic women love being perceived as victims because it makes them, the center of attention. Because no one gives a fuck about winners. Everyone gives a fuck about, pathetic people. If you're always a victim, if you're always begging for attention and begging for help, like, oh, I need help, you're constantly in the spotlight. And narcissistic women want to be in a spotlight. And if they cannot be in a spotlight for being a bad bitch, for being, the queen, then they will always have an audience for being a victim. She's always a victim. She's always crying about her abusive men. But it's one abusive man, one abusive marriage after another. She knows the signs of an abusive man and she's attracted to that. And she knows the impact it has onto her children. Yet she will not sign the divorce papers. She will not sign any papers to actually get the man into jail. And she's going to actually file restraining orders against anyone who's actually trying to get her children into safety. That's what she does. And that's a narcissistic woman. And that's the worst type of mother you can have. So if you have siblings and, you have sisters and they're always in narcissistic, relationships, there's a chance that your narcissistic sisters are narcissists. That's what it is. They're narcissists. They love the attention and like attracts like. So do yourself a favor and cut them off.